Hello and welcome to episode 25 of Mouse House Plus, brought to you by TPEnetwork.com. We are covering Loki, and this is episode 4, the Nexus event. And the person laughing underneath me is John. How are you, John?
I'm good. No, I like that intro.
Flipping the pages. This is gonna be me flipping stress pretty soon here. Ball of yarn.
Oh,
are you ready to get into this? This is a crazy episode.
Oh yeah.
On Asgard, we see Ravonna take Sylvie and how she immediately escaped before sentencing. So, John, you were correct that she was, in fact, even though it was for how long? A hot second.
All right, so let's take a moment here. So Sylvie, who is being played by Kylie Flem, whatever.
Flim.
She is a master of playing the kid who's been taken away from her parents.
Awesome.
So if anyone doesn't know, she actually played young Rey in The Last Skywalker.
I didn't even recognize her.
So
did you see what she was playing with?
Yes, but did you see what was next to what she was playing with?
Which thing? The ship?
So there's a Fenray toy that
I saw the wolf.
And that's Fenray, and then in the actual Norse mythology, Fenray is a child of Loki. So that's they're connecting all that right there.
That is cool.
And also we see our first sign of Agent A23,
Avengers 23.
That's right, and she was debuted in Avengers 23. And by the way, that was a King storyline.
Yes, all signs are pointing to Kang, but have these writers read those comics? I don't know. We'll still give you the gold star.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that was a crazy intro, and I physically got angry.
Oh, that they took her like that? And
yes, like, unless they're going to show us that, one, she's either lying about the story, or two, she did something crazy.
Well, and that's what we're probably going to find out the next episode. But there's still more stuff going in here if you didn't notice. Okay, so as she's being drug into the TVA, you know that guy that basically burst through the door who's being all manhandled?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the same guy that's sitting behind the control panel with the big old stash.
I see everybody saying that. He does not look like him at all to me.
It is the same actor. It's supposed to be going along with showing that, yes, look, they're recycling these people after they take them.
I heard that, and I was like, man, he couldn't look more different. He looks so much skinnier and such at the desk.
And then let's see, what else do we have? The room that basically what was it? It determined if you're an android or not.
Yes.
Did you notice how the large amount of scorch marks that were actually on the floor right in front of her?
Yes. So that's why they do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, like, okay, I guess it actually happens.
I was sad that there was no cat.
No, oh yeah, you're right. Well, you got to think this is probably about 1,000 years, in the future, or in the past, I guess I should say, because of the fact that she's roughly about the same age as Loki, and we know Loki's about 1,000 years.
Yes. So that's the only thing I was a little down about. I was like, oh, no kitty. And there was no kitty face on the mug when he held up his mug. I was like, oh, no.
Oh, we just haven't got there yet.
Failure.
Yep.
Now we jump to Ravonna being outside the timekeeper's door. She takes that deep breath and stuff, which later makes it sound so awful. So we enter and we see 3 figures on stones. And did you see the glowing, was it runes behind them? Is that why magic don't work at the TVA?
Nah, I don't think that those are runes. Those are just background droppings. I mean, they probably just got a deal on some neon.
The middle one, he likes neon.
But this is one of the things where they're trying to reflect from the comics, because, they're placed up on that pedestal just like how the timekeepers are in the comics.
Yes, and how they are on the show.
Yep.
As far as just, everybody around the building is like, oh, they're busy making time happen and all this stuff. And you're like, come on.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
hokey.
and then you see what they're doing. They're just sitting there. So okay, so we're not talking about the end here. We're going to act like that these characters are like real beings. Okay. So are they doing everything from no, because we see them looking from their angle at the elevator. So there's no screen for them to dictate the future there. Do they just know it? I mean, all the pictures they show, they're like looking at the timeline and they're searching through the timeline to make sure everything is right. But clearly they're just chilling on some chairs. So,
yeah.
I mean, do some work, guys. Jeez.
That is funny. Mobius is waiting outside, and we find out that C20 is dead. Did something feel off to you already, or did it take a little longer?
Okay. Oh, yeah. She can't lie to save her life. I mean, it's as soon as she was saying that, I'm like, yeah, right. And then that just goes to prove further on down this episode where we're actually witnessing her like dig that grave a lot more and more.
And then on Lamentus, last year this time, Loki and Black Widow were sitting on some rocks. Remember, everybody thought that?
Yep.
But it is obviously Sylvie, and she remembers Asgard and tells Loki her story, and she eventually figured out how to hide in apocalypse events and stuff, trial and error. Oh, let me ask you, I forgot to ask this. Do you believe that this little kid took the TemPad and then knew how to get out?
I mean, you just slam some buttons.
Just mash buttons like Xbox. Okay.
Well, I mean, think about it this way. Clearly, as we've seen that with a scene coming up in the future, that like some of the last things that you did stay on that screen. So she may have just went back. Well, no, she couldn't go back to her reality because her reality has now been erased. So,
all right.
I don't know. I mean, maybe there's just a quick button right there because when we see in the last episode when you open it up, it's got exit. And all you have to do is tap the exit.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know about like where it's going. So
yeah. Seems like they would have caught a kid quickly.
Well, the thing that kind of got me about this, I'm like, okay, well, since whatever is up with her, since the goddess of mischief exists, and she was like saying every single reality she went in, it automatically spiked and they knew where she's at. I'm like, how does anybody grow up in that? I mean, as you're a little kid, you gotta sleep.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like in that case, it looks like they're just triggering until she gets to like the apocalypses. So, okay, so that means that she gets a few hours here and there as the world's coming to an end and she just jumps into another one.
Yeah.
I mean, this is reminding me of like Lost and pushing the button. And it's like, how sane can a person be after years of only getting a little bit of sleep because you're constantly running?
All right.
Yeah.
In the TVA, they are searching for Sylvie and Loki when B-15 asks about C-20 and Mobius lies to her. So do you get the sense that they were trying to show us like how much the TVA is built on lies? We just had Ravonna lie to Mobius, and now Mobius passes another lie on to B-15.
Yeah, but there's also a thing with Mobius specifically because it's like between him and Loki with their lying games where it's almost like they're just constantly playing chess and trying to see how many lies you can put out there before one of those lies is actually the truth. I mean, I could totally see him just, doing exactly what he was told to do and not tell anyone because it comes natural to him. It almost comes natural to him as much as it does for Loki.
Yeah, it does. The Lokis discuss losing when Sylvie touches Loki. I think their weirdness of having feelings for themselves is what caused the big branch timeline.
Yeah. Yes, that's how much of a narcissist that Loki is. That the only way that he was able to find love was with himself.
Exactly.
But you know what? Maybe this will make him a better person. I mean, they had that big moment there where, like, you don't have to be evil.
True, yeah. You could do something good, maybe. And
there's and I didn't write that which comic book that was, but there was a thing there where it was Loki did this exact thing. This was the actual storyline of one of the comics where like he basically after having a run-in with the younger versions of himself and kind of like discussing like how he ends up, he basically changes his path and like I'm going to be good instead of bad. So
that'd be awesome. So the TVA comes to get them right before Lamentus 1 is destroyed.
Now, hold on a second. Did they come to get them, or did they just open the doors and see if they jump through?
No, they came through. I thought they came through with them.
No, they just open the doors and they just sit there and stare at the doors, and he never come through the doors.
Ah.
So I'm like, okay, is this like a game? They're trying to see like if they're like since they're in an apocalyptic scene, would they just jump through or something like that?
Will you come through here?
Yeah,
this is your way out. And
well, I mean, shoot, and you turn around.
A Loki is going to save itself. So
I mean, and you turn around and you look at that like, I want to take a moment here and give credit to the CGI people and all the people who did these scenes, because the planet coming apart and then falling into the other planet was beautiful. Like how they did all of that, how they made everything look so good. And it was convincing. I think the only thing that wasn't convincing about that whole thing was that there's so many rocks falling from the sky and none of them come near them.
Right. Yeah.
But that's plot driven. What you got to keep them alive for a little while anyway. But yeah, they did a really, really good job with the special effects leading into their escape from the planet.
I agree with that. And then Mobius puts Loki through a time loop where Lady Sif shows up. So now, John, is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. canon now? Come on. Lady Sif.
Well, I mean, Lady Sif being exiled is still, I guess, canon, but we're supposed to see her come back in Thor: Love and Thunder. So I guess we'll find out what she has to say there. But
okay.
When it comes to that, yeah, you know what? Actually, maybe the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. universe did exist, and then Timekeepers just wiped it out.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I like where you're going.
Thank you.
We are all in agreement. Yeah. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was real. That's going to be Ming Na Wen and Clark Gregg. It was real. Before they get pruned.
Yep. Oh man, just think about if they went and grabbed them and had them as agents.
That'd be epic.
They would be.
That'd be epic. Have one of them at a desk job.
Yeah.
In the background.
Clark Gregg just sitting there.
So Lady Sif cracks his eggs several dozen times, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Pun intended. And then Mobius goes to see Ravonna, and he wants them in the same room. He wants both variants in the same room. She's like, oh, absolutely not. No way. And then outside, he talks to B-15 once he leaves there. But when he was in there, did you think he was going to take her TemPad, 1? Did you think he was, 2, playing her as far as, like, putting out information just to see, how he does with Loki, just to see what she does with it?
Well, I think that he just didn't want to take the BS that she was basically putting out there, because, I mean, again, she couldn't lie. And I think that's really primarily, I agree more on the second one than the first one. I didn't know that he would do that, but it would make perfect sense, because how do you track that down? Right. But he's just testing the water by putting these things out there, because the little thing that Loki said is sitting in the back of his head, and and she sounds fishy. She doesn't even, I mean, there's nothing that she says that sounds convincing at all. Oh, what's this? Oh, I don't want to put you together. Oh, I went ahead and destroyed her because I was afraid for you, because we've been through so much together. I'm like, what? Come on.
I did it for you. You're like, yeah. Why? Why would you?
Yeah, they're like, well, he's like, I knew I was your favorite. She's like, yeah, but come on. And she is playing you like a fiddle.
And then what was that about? Oh, just one drink? Like as if they have multiple drinks together all the time or something. I don't know. I was like,
oh yeah, and I guess it was like to celebrate their victory, because she was like closing out the paperwork. So, and that's the other thing too. They haven't been both disposed of yet, and they're closing out the paperwork.
Yeah, that is terrible.
So I guess they're just basically like, oh yeah, we're going to kill them off at here in a bit. But I mean, it's because the Timekeepers, I guess they wanted to see the execution with their nonsense up there. But yeah, they bring them in, bring the paperwork in. They're just go ahead and signing that off ahead of time. Whatever. Come on. It's just her. They've definitely made her like, we don't know. She wasn't even a good guy or bad guy. She was just a person. Then she was portrayed as the person doing the good thing, and now we're seeing her as just being the bad guy, because she can't even lie good.
Right.
She could take some lessons from a Loki.
Yes, she could. All right, outside when Mobius is talking to B-15, he ponders about how they brought in Kree, Titans, and vampires, but that 2 orphan demigods are a pain in the butt. And I was like, yeah, it was a great line.
Yep. Well, but more importantly, it's the second confirmation in the MCU that vampires exist.
You're correct.
Can you name that first one, Hank?
The vampires. I don't know what.
It would be Thor Ragnarok. Whenever Korg had his like 3.
Oh
yeah. Be like,
yes.
oh, if we had 3 vampires that were standing close to each other.
Yes. He was horrible. B-15 asks if Loki said anything, and Mobius laughs and says, "Yeah, the TVA's lying to me." And you could start seeing that the wheels were all starting to turn, even though they shrug it off at that point.
Oh, there was something I missed whenever they were out in the hallway. So when you look at where they're keeping her, the Time Theater number 47, by the way, number 47 is the What If episode that Loki escapes imprisonment to mess with time.
Nice. Loki is still in his Sif time loop. And then he tries being honest with Sif, and she says the same thing, but she doesn't need him that time, which I found interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Loki and Mobius talk, and Loki says that him and Sylvie are not partners. And then Mobius threatens to put him back in with Sif, and so Loki makes up a story trying to I don't know, stall whatever Loki's do. And Mobius is like, tells him that lie, which was just a clear cut lie that we got rid of Sylvie. And the way Loki was like, what? You did? I was like, come on, man. I just don't
hold on. He was testing the water here because he knows that he has a thing for her. So he wanted to see him express it by basically saying, oh no, we pruned her. And you know what? Because of all the lies they have with each other, it doesn't even matter if it sounded like a bad lie. These 2 people don't know what the truth is anymore. No matter what they say, it's more than likely a lie. So it doesn't matter. He could say it jokingly, seriously, or completely sarcastically, and there's nothing that would give away the fact that is it true or not. I really don't know anymore.
No, they don't. And then Mobius is like, you like her, don't you? You fell for yourself.
Yep.
I ought to box your ears. That was so great when he said that. I was like, what era is he from? I ought to box your ears.
Possibly an era with jet skis.
I hope so. Loki spills that the TVA are variants and then throws one last bar before he's portaled elsewhere. What did you think about Mobius at that moment? Did you think he was getting more to Loki, or Loki was getting more to him?
No. He was getting more to Loki. It was like he was 100% on Team Loki after this, or Team Sylvie, or Loki. Both of them, whatever. The Lokis.
The low key, keeping it low key.
Sounds like you know what? Oh my gosh. They should get all those Lokis together. They could be a band called the Low Keys.
That is excellent. I'd listen to them. B-15 is going through something strange, and then she tells Sylvie, "Come with me." She goes in to the room. I was like, "Oh crap!" And at first I was like, maybe she blames her for C-20. That's what I thought at first.
Well, you know what? As soon as she came in, she's like, "Come with me." I was like, "Oh, they're escaping." Because I mean, the only other thing I could think of is that she would take her in there just to beat her,
right,
give her smack around a little bit. But as soon as she opened up the doors, like, "Come with me," I mean, that wouldn't be something that she would say threatening. It would be like, "You're coming with me now," and coming in and like grabbing hold of her and bringing her, not like offering a place to leave. But It's interesting that they had to go, that she took her back to the same place that she ended up seeing whatever it is that she saw in the first place. I guess you wanted to make sure that was it the place or was it her?
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know why it had to be there. They probably could have just done that in the room, but no, it was interesting that they chose to go back to that apocalypse.
Ravonna and Mobius talk. If you could go anywhere at any time. So where would you go? But Ravonna says the timekeepers want to personally see the pruning of the two Lokis. And then he asks about C20 again. And this is when he took that Tim pad and all that stuff, because he did the old trophy trick. Don't you want to put this on your trophy wall, this sword? Yep. And then takes the Tim pad, which was never going to work. It'd be like somebody taking your cell phone. Like, you notice that pretty quick.
Oh, which, by the way, B15 just so happens to go back and take out of her office to hand back to her later on in the episode.
Which is epic. Yeah, yep. So we were going to get there, but that's cool. B15 wants to know what she did to her, and they're in front of the rocks cart, and then she wants to see again, and does. And the rain's coming down. It's like a Blade Runner, almost the same kind of sentiment of when the Visions were having their conversation about, what's real and all that kind of stuff. Oh, man, I tell you, that was a very well done scene. And did you know that actress played in a show with the guy who is going to be portraying Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man?
Oh, you mean oh, great. Well, this is like my favorite. Oh, Lovecraft Country. Jeez, yes. He's like one of my favorite writers, and it just went blank in my head. Yeah. I know that.
She was awesome. I was like, that's kind of cool how they all are, work together in other projects and stuff. I think it's really cool.
Yep.
So it was all real. Oh my goodness. She was happy and all that stuff. I was like, oh, this is so sad. Now Mobius, like looking through his, like looking through an ex-girlfriend's phone, he sees that C20 interview with Ravonna, and Ravonna's the one who just stops and freezes in front of the camera. When he pauses it's her face. She's obviously at fault here for the pruning and everything.
Well, I don't understand why they even would record that interview, because I mean, it looks like they document everything, not necessarily record everything.
Well, I think she was just going to go through the interview under the guise that C20 was off her rocker.
Mm-hmm.
But when C20's coherent, that's when you see her scrambling to stop the tape, because it's there. She's gonna, she's spilling the beans about them all being variants and being pulled from different times and stuff like that. And that's when you see Ravonna's like scrambling for the button to stop the recording. And I was like, oh, that's horrible. So now Mobius comes to get Loki, and this was the coolest segment of the episode probably, because I'm wondering, John, is there any lag in time between the moment when Mobius goes in there and says, you were right about this whole thing, and then the time they come out and C20 and company are waiting for them? Do you think there was any lag?
No, I don't think so. I think it's one of those that when they open up the door to connect the two realms, the time syncs up.
So no time to have any kind of a powwow and make any kind of a alternative plan.
No, I'm pretty sure as soon as he left, she went over to her pad to do something to check on him, realized it was his, and already started grabbing everyone to go straight to him. Okay. Because I mean, it was he was already questioning things and kind of like dragging things out. So I'm pretty sure she was already on the know that am I going to have to prune him? I cannot believe I'm going to have to prune him. But
and prunes taste terrible, so that's why we know that can't be a good thing. All right, so let's see. Oh, when Ravonna goes to see Sylvie and she notices the wet hair, I was like, oh, snap. Oh, snap. That's a problem. B15, you might want to run for it.
Mm-hmm.
So they gather the Lokis in the elevator, and Sylvie asks if she remembers her. Does Ravonna remember her? And Ravonna's playing coy about, oh, I don't remember what your Nexus event was.
Yeah,
but she knows. She knows what it was.
Yes, she does.
And what do you think it is, John?
I actually don't have a clue. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that she was born a goddess instead of a god. That's the only thing, but that wouldn't make sense because why wouldn't she just go when she was born and take care of her then? So I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't even speculate right now, really.
I wonder what it could possibly be. Oh, I don't know. And they haven't shown us enough about her at that time point for us to even make any kind of, coherent guesses other than the timekeepers, air quotes, saw some future event. And if she learns too much magic before some certain point, they have to pull her, and be like, no, you ain't learning any more of this, or you'll be too powerful for us to get. So I don't know. Well, I can't wait to find out, though. In front of the timekeepers, the timekeeper Muppets are pretty cocky. And I did not like that about them, as smug and cocky their little animatronics were.
It's funny because I was like, man, they look real rubbery and fake. And then whenever we get that, they hold the head, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense.
I was like, Chuck E. Cheese's where it can
But this fight scene is great. I mean, all the basically dodging of the sticks and how they're using the spear ends of them and slashing each other. And then they're tossing the sword back and forth to each other. Here you go, you use this now.
Yeah.
So
B-15 stole the scene of releasing their collars like that to me.
Yeah. No,
I
she
like that.
And she hasn't been erased. She's just knocked out.
Right. Allegedly, yes.
Yep. So maybe we'll probably see more of her. Hopefully.
I hope so. So it is showdown time with Ravonna and Sylvie. With Ravonna down, Sylvie beheads a timekeeper robot, and then all three of them short circuit.
Well, no. They don't. The two other ones are laughing hysterically,
and then they go out though.
No, they're just laughing. They're just down here and they're laughing. So that's the person, the Wizard of Oz is back there laughing, he's this voice for all three of them, and he's just laughing because someone actually figured it out. I don't know.
Yeah, they look like they went out though at the end. They were hunched over.
Yeah. Well,
Loki is about to confess his love for himself when he is pruned by Ravonna. That was the dumbest part of this episode, in my opinion. I thought it was really stupid that he's just got his back forever to a downed Ravonna with weapons laying all over the floor.
Well, to me, it really caught me off guard. And, I mean, you're right, but I didn't think of it that way. It was one of those where he was done and it was a moment, and unfortunately he just wasn't thinking straight.
I knew he was going to get whatever this is, pruned is, because they were delaying. I just got to tell you something. And he had his back to the camera, the framing of the camera. I was like, here we go.
All right. So, in the comics, the person who had created the time keepers was called He Who Remains. And what he originally did was created three beings, and they were called the Time Twisters, and they were messing with things so bad, he went and had to erase them, and then he made the Timekeepers.
Nice. Nice. Sylvie takes the pruning stick from Ravonna, but does not kill her. She wants to know everything. So Ravonna's a hostage at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of thought that the episode was just going to be done, but for some reason I just hung out during the credits. And then the after credits, Loki is on the ground where he ponders if he's dead, if he's an H-E-L, hella, like hell.
Yep.
And the other Loki variants are standing over him. There's 4 of them. I guess we've got Gator Loki.
Hold on, I got names.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so the first one that we see, that we actually hear, is Richard E. Grant, and he plays this elder Loki in his cosplay. I mean, sorry, not cosplay, classic Loki look.
He's awesome.
And
That's an awesome actor.
then we see in the front, Jake Veal, they plays Kid Loki. And by the way, that costume was 100% accurate to his comic book counterpart. Then, and I'm going to butcher this name. I'm sorry. It's Diobia Opara. I really hope I said that right. But he doesn't actually have a specific name. He's just called the Prideful or Boastful Loki. And which, by the way, is wielding a version of Mjolnir. So I thought that was kind of interesting because it looks all beat up. And then Alligator Loki, unfortunately, doesn't really reflect anything in particular. But I have a feeling that it was more of a call out to like
Frog Thor.
Or I was thinking more of Spider Pig from the Spider-Verse.
Oh, I think they're going to have their own spinoff, Alligator Loki and Frog Thor.
No, I don't see. I mean, definitely not the cuddliest bunch.
And then god of lily pads.
Yep, and in the background we see the Avengers Tower, which has been decimated to the right. I gave it a 10. I said I sat on the edge of my couch for watching this. I mean, it was a great episode. The only downsides that I had to it were more of the villain roles where like they just, they go in a dumb direction or do dumb things, but that's specific to the plot and you're not supposed to like them anyway. So, but besides that, no, I greatly enjoyed this episode.
Cool. I'm giving it a 10 as well. It was the best one of the season so far. All right, we got a couple pieces of feedback.
All right.
First one up is Elizabeth. Hi, Hank and John. Thank you for finding the translation of Loki's song last week. In an episode of Doctor Who, in the 80s, Fifth Doctor, two different versions of the Brigadier touched each other and caused a Blimovich limitation effect. What is that? I don't know. Awesome. So it looks like the same thing has happened here when the Lokis touched each other. My knowledge of Doctor Who finally pays off. What was going on in the final shot? Is the alligator a Loki? Thanks, Elizabeth. Yep, the alligator is a Loki. And I bet you Wayne Henderson just jumped for joy because he is probably the biggest Doctor Who fan I know. So he's probably like, yes, I know what happened. So he'll make that same comparison. That I've not watched much of Doctor Who. I watched some of the old reruns, but nothing consistently. So I don't that Blimovich limitation effect is lost on me.
Well, I mean, it's Tom Baker's Doctor Who. So yeah, that's it's unfortunately he did a lot of Doctor Who. So I cannot. It's this whole series is very, very much Doctor Who-ish with all the stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, it seems like they are really borrowing from other stuff like Rick and Morty and stuff since those writers are from there.
Yep.
All right, we've got another piece of feedback, and this one is a voicemail message from Caden. Take her away, Caden.
Hi, Hank and John. This is Caden from Michigan. Man, it's been a while since I've been able to call in, but glad I get to again. Of course, I forgot my notepad, and my brain's kind of like a squirrel, so I'm probably going to jump around with some things I have to say here. But first off, it's good to hear your guys' take on all these episodes, and I like how you guys pick them apart because it's just a different perspective. Like, I watch it solely based on an MCU fan. And I suspend a lot of disbelief just because I know, it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're talking about superheroes here. And you guys nitpick everything, which is great. And I like to hear both perspectives of it. And it's just a cool thing to listen to. And you guys do a great job on the podcast. So getting into this episode of Loki, what was the Nexus event that Loki and Sylvie created on Lamentus? I mean, did I miss something, or have we not found that out yet? Mobius's superior that he reports to, I forget her name, I feel like she definitely is a lot farther up in the TVA, but I don't think she's totally behind everything, because we see earlier in the episode that she originally was one of the Minutemen that brought in Sylvie off of Asgard. So she was obviously working for someone and worked her way up to the position she's in, but I don't think she's all the way at the top. But I do believe that she definitely is a key to figuring out what's behind all this or who's behind all this. The scene where we got to see the timekeepers was probably the cheesiest thing I've ever seen. I mean, come on. Like, you could tell they were robots right from the beginning. It was just, I don't know, to me it was really fake, really cheesy, and maybe that's how they meant it to be. You know, I'm not sure. So, I also don't believe Mobius is dead when he got pruned, obviously, because we see at the end credit scene that Loki's not dead. I think it probably puts him in some form of alternate dimension or, you know, some part of the multiverse. Overall, I'd probably give the episode we'll go 8.
Wow, an 8. Right at the end when he went to say out of 10, a buzzer as if the MCU jumped in, landed, and it was like, real like the screeching buzz. So I'm thinking they wanted to stop him. But looks like you're frozen.
No, I'm still here.
There we go.
I'm just not moving.
It was real still.
Yeah, I
it was glitching.
Nope, I was being real still.
All right. Well, he says he likes how we nitpick. That's funny. The Nexus event we talked about, that's Loki actually falling in love.
Or actually caring for something else.
Yeah. Well, not really. It's almost. I mean, they're almost the same kind of person, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that was the event there. That feeling, because Lokis are not supposed to be, falling in love. Not seriously falling in love.
Well, Sif said said it herself that you'd be alone forever, and it's not the case here.
No. And then Ravonna's role, that is a good point. I had not really thought about Ravonna, especially when they show us this flashback. It makes it seem like, I don't know, how far up could she be in the TVA?
I mean, if she's been there for about 1,000 years, like I said earlier, hypothetically, she could just worked her way all the way to the top, found out what's going on, or, you know, considering that her character in the comics is completely, connected to, I just lost my train of thought.
Kang?
Connected to Kang, I mean, it could still be playing that route as well.
That would be cool. And in the spoiler zone, we'll probably go deeper into that. The timekeepers looking too fake. Did you think they looked too fake when they zoomed in, or before they zoomed in on them?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because typically when they have aliens like that, they're CGI'd to the point to look real, where these were purposely CGI'd to not look real. So
right. And then Mobius not being dead, I think we'll save that for behind the spoiler curtain. We'll do that.
Okay.
Anything before we go to the spoiler zone, John?
No, because I want to talk over there.
Let's do it then. If you don't like spoilers, please back out now. But if you don't mind them, it'd help if I hit the right trigger.
Oh.
Warning. Incoming spoilers. Warning. Incoming spoilers. Warning. Incoming spoilers.
You've been warned. All right. Now we know Mobius is not dead per se because you see him in some upcoming footage. So can't be totally dead. Maybe it's another version of him, or maybe we find out how pruning works. So he's not dead.
Now, so this is what I believe. I believe that this planet that they ended up on is like a recycling machine, where that's the reason why the Lokis are grabbing Loki, because they don't want him to get caught up in it. But basically, it's like the processing center. So if you go and get pruned, you end up there, and that's when you're turned into a TVA agent. So they do all the work right there, wipe your mind, everything, and then go back.
Oh, okay.
That's what I believe is going on, because the thing is, like, if all these variants end up being TVA agents, then when they are pruned, wherever it is they're going, then they're being recruited again.
That is so weird. And it looked like it was just a junkyard of discarded timeline events, because in the little preview I saw, there was a ship that just drops out of thin air. Like it was pruned and it just bam lands on this planet.
I mean, maybe that's where whenever they do all their pruning, it's just where all the junk ends up. But yeah, I mean, because originally I was thinking that it was just the apocalyptic New York sky, line, whatever, the area. But no, I didn't even think about that. That makes a little more sense.
That is creepy. What about these other Loki? Do you think they have any kind of special secret to how they're still alive?
No, I actually think that they got pruned. They ended up there, but maybe their magic still works, and so they're able to survive versus basically probably anybody else that shows up there.
Right. It's like a free for all.
I mean, clearly, what we know, that's the one thing Loki is good at, is surviving.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Although I have no idea how an alligator would. How would you bring that in? Could you be like, you're just dragging along the floor or something like that?
Go through the scanner, please.
Oh yeah.
He's like,
it falls out of the ceiling, to the room where they've got the guy signing. Here's everything you ever said. So basically, he just has one page that says,
put your little paw on there.
Yeah, but again, if he fell and he didn't have any of his powers, I mean, wouldn't that kill it?
That would kill it.
So say that's a long distance.
That would definitely kill a little sucker. Ravonna, do you think we're actually going to see Kang in this series, or we're not going to see him? Because the actor has been saying he's not in it, but he could be lying.
I think this is going to be like Thanos at the end of Avengers, the first Avengers movie.
Somebody else doing the role.
Or you're just seeing like an image of, where it's heading, or she's talking to him. So maybe he's telling the truth, but that he's not physically in it, but he may still be in it. But I want to take a moment and actually like line up her to Thanos, because you have to, a lot of the stuff that she does lines directly up with Thanos's worst crimes. I mean, basically sacrificing the person that, apparently from what she says, she likes the most, constantly doing all these things, for the better good of the universe. And it's a very striking comparison if you really start thinking about the stuff that she's doing. It's just that she's not as convincing as Thanos is.
No, not at all.
No.
But she's definitely not clueless. Why did she take the deep breath before she went in the room, do you think?
I think she's just playing with us. I think that she knows what's going on in there, but she's got to make up the act, for everybody else.
Oh, okay. So
I mean,
not some idiot that's like, oh, I believe they were real until now.
No. Okay. I mean, because if that's the case, wouldn't she want to know if she was a variant? And want her memories and stuff back? But the only way that she wouldn't do that is if she was part of the whole scheme.
That is crazy. Yeah, she's not had any kind of second thoughts or doubts, and she knows that, yeah, you are a variant, but don't be telling people that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Anything else before we wrap her up?
No. I mean, this is just getting crazy. And I mean, if they wrap this up and it doesn't help lead to the multiverse of madness, I'll be upset, because this is just like the perfect opportunity. Now that we're seeing all these different versions of Loki, if they use the multiverse of madness to help bring in the mutants, that's going to help explain things, because maybe what they could do is turn around and be like, oh yeah, we don't have any Inhumans here. Humans aren't real. They're, this universe, they don't exist. They're mutants here.
Right.
So that'll help solve that.
That is cool. All right. I think that should do it, should it?
Yep.
All right. That is going to do it for this edition of Mouse House Plus, episode 25. We'll be back next week. John will be on remote, won't you?
Yes, I will. I'll be in the north of Fargo.
Okay. So I don't know if we'll do video or not. We'll see.
I guess it depends on the connection, right?
Yep. So thank you so much for tuning in. And remember that I do a Bad Batch show on the Mandalorian Fan Podcast, so check it out. All right. John. Go ahead.
I'd say you need to go listen to that, because Uncle Alex knows what he's talking about when it's Star Wars time.
He is a Star Wars nutball. Star Trek nutball, Star Wars nutball.
Well, I mean, I'm up there too. It's just that he's got age on me. I mean, not in a bad way. I'm saying that like in the knowledge level, because if he saw it when it came out, which I didn't because I was just born,
Right.
you know, then he's already got me beat. So
age and 50 pounds. He would admit it. Come on. All right. For John, I'm Hank. Until the next time, we're signing off.
everybody.
TPE Network. There ain't nothing else like it.